So good morning. So I'll quickly take you through what we have seen in the last class. We talked about the normal modes of a 1D monoatomic chain. Monoatomic means we are going to have only one type of atom sitting at each of these primitive cells. And it's a one-dimensional cell, and there are n primitive cells and n identical atoms. The distance between them is a, but we are going to pretend that we are not going to talk about interaction between an atom and a distant atom. We are only going to consider the nearest atom interaction. And we've seen that because of thermal effects, these atoms are in a state of vibration. So we consider S of L as the displacement of the atom sitting at the lattice L. Similarly, SL plus A, SL minus A. Then we write the potential energy, assuming nearest atom interaction and using the equation U is equal to half Ka square. I'm talking of physics, half Ka square. We are able to get the effective potential energy of the entire crystal as half summation F of SL minus SL plus A whole square, where this small f is your spring constant K that you studied in physics 1. Then we also talk about the restoring force acting on one of the atom at L because of the atoms at L minus A and L plus A, and set up the equation of motion. And then we see that the solution of the equation is equation number 4.4, which will be an exponential S is equal to S naught exponential I K dot L minus omega T. Then next what we do is we substitute this 4.4 back into 4.3. When you do that and then remove all the common terms on the left and right hand side of the equation, you end up getting an equation for omega square, where omega is the angular frequency of oscillation. Okay, and you get an equation omega square is equal to 4f by capital M sine square Ka by 2. One sec. Sine square Ka by 2. Okay, now this capital M is the mass of each of the atom or ion sitting at the lattice. Then ultimately we arrive at the equation for the angular frequency of oscillation, omega. Okay, and you see that omega is a function of K. On the right hand side, there is only one variable K. So you write omega as a function of K. And this equation which you are writing relating omega and K is called the dispersion relation. And here we take modulus because omega cannot be negative. So we take modulus. Next thing is we try to look at what would be the omega values for two values of K. We find that when K is equal to plus minus pi A, then omega is 0. Similarly, we find that when K is equal to 0, then omega is 0. Or when you plot this omega versus K, that is the dispersion relation, when you are plotting omega versus K, this is the graph that you are getting. And you're seeing that there is a symmetry. If you just study this region to this region is my omega K equal to minus pi by A, and this region is plus pi by A. So if you confine yourself to just this region and look at how the graph is, you will find that there is a symmetry about K equal to 0. The left hand side is the mirror image of the right. And after that, whatever you're going to see, beyond pi by A and minus pi by A, you're seeing that it's just going to be a repetition of the graph. So just by confining ourselves to minus pi by A to plus pi by A, you can actually study all the modes. When I say modes, I'm talking of all the omegas, the unique omegas possible. So if I'm talking of unique omegas, I'm also going to talk about the unique K values possible. And this region minus pi by A to plus pi by A is called the first Brillouin zone. Okay, and we finally we define something called the normal modes. Here we had made an assumption that these n independent oscillators, these atoms are oscillators, they are independently oscillating, and we arrived at n equations describing the oscillation of each of these atoms. These are called the normal modes. But then our assumption is wrong. These are not independently oscillating. There is an orchestrated oscillation. So the real solution is going to be a linear combination of the independent solutions, or it's going to be superposition of the normal modes. After that, we wanted to write the periodic condition. So what we did was we took this chain and then connected the two ends of the chain and then created a ring. The length of the chain is capital L, and it is the length is equal to n into a, where n is the total number of ions or atoms in the chain, and a is the distance between each. Okay. After that, we write an equation to talk about the periodicity. So what is that? We take some origin and move a step PA. We arrive at an atom which is located at PA. Now, if you travel further by a distance capital NA, we find that capital NA is capital L, which is coming around the circle once. You again arrive at this only. Or in other words, we find that there is a periodicity PA plus NA equal to PA. So using this periodicity, you also write the equation for the displacement. SL is equal to SL plus NA. And ultimately, we have shown the condition for the different values of K that are possible. We found that K can take values N into 2 pi by L, where the small n equal to 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2, etc. Or in other words, we are saying that K can be positive, K can be negative. And further, we want to confine ourselves to the first Brillouin zone extending from minus pi by A to plus pi by A. And we try to see how many K values are possible. So for that, what you do? First you put small n equal to 0, then small n equal to plus minus 1, plus minus 2. You keep doing that. And when you go on like this, you ultimately find that when you reach capital N by 2, small n equal to capital N by 2, then you are finding that you are arriving at the border of the Brillouin zone. Okay, or in other words, we are finding that the total number of K values possible in the first Brillouin zone include 0, and then it is 2 pi by L, 4 pi by L, 6 pi by L, you go on till you reach plus minus pi by A. Okay, and you see that there are capital N number of K values possible. Capital N number of K values are possible inside the Brillouin zone means from the dispersion relationship, that many omegas are also possible, or that many modes are possible. And you find that the minute you jump out of this first Brillouin zone, you go out of the first Brillouin zone, you find that any K that you take is going to give rise to an omega, which is already existing inside the first Brillouin zone. Okay, and that is not difficult to show because it's after all a sine function. Okay, you find that you take any K outside the Brillouin zone and try to get the omega. You will find that that omega exists inside the Brillouin zone. So by just studying the first Brillouin zone, you can get all the unique omega values and all the normal modes that are possible for this n atom linear chain. Next, let us go to the salient features of the dispersion curve. This is how the curve looks. You know it. Okay, it extends from minus pi by 8 to plus. It extends on both the sides, but we are not interested in these regions because anyway, it's just a repetition of the curve only. So if you just confine yourself to this region, you have studied the entire modes possible. So let us look at the equation once again. Omega of K is equal to omega m modulus of sine Ka by 2, where this omega m is the maximum omega possible, and that happens at the borders of the Brillouin zone. You can see it is a maximum at these two ends. And what is it? It is under root of f by m. Here, I want you to remember under root of k by m. You have studied in physics. It's the same. Next, the total number of unique K values or normal modes are n. That also we have seen. Okay, next, when K changes by 2 pi by A, every time you're going to move by 2 pi by A. Sorry, see here, I made a mistake. When K changes by 2 pi by A, K changes by 2 pi by A means from here to here. When you go from here to here, you're finding that the pattern is going to simply get repeated. the pattern is going to get repeated. So when k changes by 2 pi by a, and what is 2 pi by a? 2 pi by a is the reciprocal lattice vector. So when you jump one reciprocal lattice vector or multiples of reciprocal vectors, then you're going to get the same SL, you're going to get the same omega. It repeats. Or in other words, I again insist, all unique values of k and modes or omega and SL, everything you can get from just the first Brillouin zone. So that's another unique feature of the dispersion curve. And look at this. Omega varies from 0 to omega m, where omega m is 2 under root of f by m. So you can say that for a monoatomic one-dimensional chain, okay, the frequencies that are permissible, the frequencies that can be transmitted lies in the range omega is equal to 0 to omega m or 0 to 2 under root of f by m. Therefore, a monoatomic one-dimensional chain can be treated as a low-pass filter. You studied this in engineering mechanics. Sorry, not in engineering mechanics, electrical sciences. You studied filters. What is a low-pass filter? A low-pass filter is a filter that is going to, it's an electrical circuit which will allow the transmission of a small range of frequency, a lower range of frequency, and all frequencies above that cannot pass. So in that sense, you're seeing that this one-dimensional monoatomic chain can be treated as a low-pass filter. All other frequencies cannot get transmitted through this material. Next, the frequencies are symmetric with respect to the sign change in k. What does that mean? Look at that. Here you have negative. On this side you have negative k. On this side you have positive k. But there is a symmetry. Okay. Omega symmetry is there about k equal to 0. So what does this mean? The symmetry in symmetry with respect to the sign change in k. So this can be a theoretical question. What are the interpretations of, not for this test, for the next test, okay? A mode with positive k corresponds to a wave traveling in the lattice from left to right. Similarly, a negative k is a wave traveling from right to left. So just the direction of propagation of the wave can be taken from this positive and negative k. But then when you take a crystal, this positive and negative don't really mean anything when you are talking about a large lattice. Therefore, frequency does not change with the change in sign of k. Okay, that's the next thing. Then the next one is a very important point. I hope you remember that k is also 2 pi by lambda. Okay, so for a large value of k, for a large value of k, your k is all lying between this minus pi by a to plus pi by a. For a large value of k, you find that the discreteness of the structure shows up. The wave will be able to see this monoatomic chain as discrete atoms separated by some distance a. Okay, the discreteness of the structure shows up, and at the boundary, plus pi by k and pi by a and minus pi by a, you find that the dispersion curve is horizontal. The dispersion curve is horizontal. Let's just go up and see. You see here, the dispersion curve is horizontal. In physics, in waves, you have studied that velocity of propagation is equal to omega by k. You studied this in physics in waves. Okay. So this is when we are talking about a single frequency. But here we are talking about, see, you must imagine it like this. Different atoms are there. Each fellow is setting up his normal mode. Then superimposed on that is the normal mode of the second fellow. Superimposed on that is the normal mode of the third fellow. So it's actually, if you look at the disturbance, it's actually a combination of many normal modes. Okay, or it's a group of waves of different frequency which are traveling. It's a group of waves of different traveling, different omegas, which form packets and which are traveling. Okay, now you call such groups and the velocities as group velocity. We call the velocity as group velocity, whereas the velocity of one single omega, that is called the phase velocity. Phase velocity you have studied in physics as omega by k, but this group velocity, which is the velocity of a bundle of omegas traveling, is d omega by dk. D omega by dk. Now look at this graph. Y-axis is omega, x-axis is k. So what is d omega by dk? D omega by dk is the slope. Is the slope. So now look at this. When you reach here at the end of the Brillouin zone borders, you find that the slope is 0. At plus and minus pi by a, the slope is 0. Slope is 0 means the group velocity is 0. The group velocity of the waves becomes 0 at the borders of the first Brillouin zone. Okay, so that's the meaning of the sentence. The tangent of the dispersion curve is horizontal, or the group velocity is 0. And 0 group velocity indicates that at the boundaries of the Brillouin zone, the wave suffers Bragg's reflection. So a wave travels at the boundary, it suffers a reflection, or there is a standing wave formed. At the borders of between the borders of the Brillouin zone, there is standing wave formed. And how do you know it is happening? It is happening because you look at the group velocity, you find that the dispersion, that's where the dispersion curve becomes so important. At the borders, you are finding that it's horizontal. Omega versus k is horizontal, which means d omega by dk is 0, which means the group velocity is 0. Or if it is 0 means what? The wave goes there and then gets reflected. So from this end there is a reflection, from this end there is a reflection, so it forms a standing wave. And all this discussion is true for large value of k. That's why boundaries for large k or for small lambdas. Now, for small value of k, now let us look at the opposite. Let us look at the opposite. Let us look at that all. For small values of k, that is when you are here, for small values of k or for large wavelengths, because after all k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. You take your equation omega of k equal to 2 into under root of f by m, okay, and was it 2? Yeah. And then you also wrote sine Ka by 2. Okay. Now, for small values of k, you take the sine Ka by 2 and do an expansion. When you do an expansion, you will find that sine Ka by 2 is approximately equal to Ka by 2. It's approximately equal to Ka by 2. So make that substitution into the dispersion equation. And what you get is the left hand side will be equal to k into a into under root of f by m. 2 and 2 will get cancelled out. So you'll get k into a into under root of f by m. Or you're seeing that omega is directly proportional to k. Omega is directly proportional to k when the k value is small, or when you are in the middle of the Brillouin zone. Omega is directly proportional to k. Middle of the Brillouin zone also means large wavelengths. Okay, now what happens is you will find that for this condition, for lambda, large lambda, you'll find that the medium behaves like a continuum. The chain of atoms behave like a continuous medium. the wave will not be able to see these discrete atoms. Whereas you look at the previous discussion, we say that the discreteness of the medium, the discreteness of the structure is seen. That comes up. You will see this as discrete atoms. Whereas when we are talking of large wavelengths, for large wavelengths, it doesn't see these individual atoms. It treats this entire medium as a continuum. Okay, and the chains of atoms behave like heavy elastic string. They behave like a string. It behaves like a string. And in this case, what happens is, this is very important. The group velocity becomes equal to the phase velocity. I told you phase velocity is omega by k and group velocity is d omega by dk. So the group velocity becomes equal to the phase velocity and both become independent of frequency. How do you know that? Omega is directly proportional to k in this region. This also means omega is proportional to some constant into k. So what will be omega by k? Omega by k will be a constant. Similarly, what will be d omega by dk? D omega by dk also, from this when you differentiate, you will find that equal to, okay, you will find that d omega by dk also will be equal to c, a constant. And both are independent of omega. So you will find a group velocity different from a phase velocity. I'll tell you when that happens. I'll write here. Group velocity will not be equal to the phase velocity whenever there is dispersion in the medium. Dispersion means omega is proportional to some k to the power of n, where n is greater than 1. Omega is proportional to k to the power of n. That means omega depends on k. If you do omega by k, you won't get a constant. Similarly, d omega by dk will also be a function of k. Okay, so group velocity will not be equal to phase velocity in under that condition. Then you say that the medium is dispersive. There is loss of energy. This also means loss of dispersion, also means loss of energy. Okay, so now let's just go to which region we are talking about. We are talking about no dispersion in this region. And look at this region. You're finding that omega is proportional to k. It's almost a straight line. So as long as it's a straight line, you're saying that phase velocity is equal to the group velocity. There is no dispersion. Okay, and this happens for small k's or for large lambdas. And some time back, I used a word filter. I said monoatomic lattice linear monoatomic atoms chain can be treated as a low pass filter. So what is the equivalent circuit for this? One can actually do this in a lab and see. If you're going to have a lot of inductors and capacitors, okay, connected like this, each are identical, all the L's are equal, similarly all the C's are equal. So if you create a circuit like this will be the electrical equivalent of a linear monatomic lattice chain. Okay, and omega square for this electrical circuit is given by omega square 2 by LC into 1 minus cos theta. And what is this theta? Theta is the phase change introduced by each section of the filter. Now this is one unit cell. This is one primitive cell. In going from one primitive cell to the next primitive cell, there is a phase change introduced, and this phase change is theta. Okay, and let us look at the analogy of the two. You will find that capacitance is the analogy for mass of the atom, and 1 by L is the analogy for the spring constant, force constant. Thereby, In a lab, if you measure the phase difference between the input and the output of the circuit as a function of frequency. So take this circuit, okay, and then have a frequency generator. You have a frequency source whose omega you can keep changing. Okay, when you do that, when you change frequency as a function of omega, if you try to see what is going to be the phase difference theta, and from that you will be able to see that this relationship is going to be valid. It is verified. So this also means that the physical equivalent of this electrical circuit also is verified. So what I'll do is, considering that you people have a test, I will discuss the normal modes of a diatomic chain. What is diatomic? Diatomic means instead of one type of atom, you're going to have two types of atoms. So here you see there is a smaller atom A and there is a bigger atom B. Then once more you talk about a chain and then set up the equation for that and try to see what is going to be the dispersion relation for this particular chain. Okay, and guys, I am trying to be lenient with you, cutting a class in half and allowing you to go only because I want you to write the test. I hope all of you are going to take the test today. I hope you're realizing that a makeup is not a solution for your issue. Are you even there to answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so please take the test. Okay, and if I'm going to find that the number of people who are appearing, please come online 5 minutes before. 5 minutes before, unless I see the 6 of you, I won't even conduct a test. I will simply just cancel the test and go away. With 6 people, I think better discipline should be expected. Tell the others also, all of you should come in on time. So I will finish this chapter in the next class. Again, half an hour if I take, I'll be able to finish the chapter. Then on Friday, I'm purposely just leaving you. And please remember, this chapter I will finish in the next class. This chapter is not there for the test. Only chapter number 1 and 3 are there for the test. Limited syllabus. Please study, write the exam well. Any doubts? Anything you want to ask?
No, ma'am.
Don't want to ask anything?
We still have next class, right, ma'am, on Wednesday.
What is that?
We still have class on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, we have a class on Wednesday. I can't keep on cancelling classes. Okay, Wednesday you're going to have a class, but on Wednesday what we'll do is we'll simply take a half an hour class and finish off this chapter. I'll finish this chapter, and on Friday I'm not going to take a chapter. I'm not going to take a class. Straight away come for the examination. But I want all of you to write the test, and I want you to prepare for chapter number 1 and chapter number 3. I could have added 4, but I'm not adding it to the syllabus because I want you to write well in the examination. Okay, one sec. Let me see who are all there in the class today. Pritam, Anil, Varun Sai, Uday. So 2 people are not there. Please pass on this information to them also. Okay. And write the test, please. I want all of you to write the test in one go, because always the first test is when you at least can discuss with your friends and come prepared. And it's going to be a closed book examination. It will be a proctored examination. I have already put on LMS the way the exam is going to be conducted. All the best for all the tests.